Hey guys, it's Jake. Welcome back to the final installment of the MVP Flight Check series. Today we're looking at the distance drivers. We have 13 different distance drivers. As I mentioned in the previous video, if you haven't seen that, you can go back and check it out. I'm considering a distance driver something 12 speed and above. If you haven't watched any of the other videos, feel free to go back and check those out. If you want to know why I'm doing this entire experiment and all the parameters, check out the first video that includes the putters. But today, we're going to just go through and throw these 13 just like we did with the control drivers. Just going to kind of one at a time, starting kind of from the overstable side on down. We'll throw them a few times, see what happens. I'm really excited because I have only ever thrown one of these, the Mayhem. Beyond that, it's all brand new to me, mainly because this is faster than I would normally throw. I usually cap out an 11-speed disc. I bagged that Mayhem for a while, but that was before I discovered the fission photon, and so I've kind of pushed it out. So I haven't been bagging any of these, but I am interested in checking and seeing if any of these do fly well for me, because I am going out to Ledgestone this year, and it'd be nice to have some good bomber discs if these do happen to fly further than my photons. Especially for Eureka Temp and Sunset Hills. There's some long holes there. So, all right, so we're gonna get started with the overstable end of things. We have, first up is the Energy. The Energy is the most overstable 13 speed and probably the most overstable, according to the flight numbers, distance driver that MVP makes. So we'll go ahead and give this sucker a rip. The basket is 380 feet down there. I have absolutely no clue where these are going to end up, but that seemed like a good point for a distance driver. So we'll start with the Energy. It's definitely not going that far for me, but let's see what happens here. Wow. Yeah, that is a beefy disc. That probably is up there with the flare that we saw on the control drivers. I imagine you could get a pretty good skip off of that big 13 speed rim on it, but yeah, wow, very overstable. All right, next let's look at, we'll stick in the 13 speeds, and we're actually going to look at the Nitro and the Panic. These two discs have very similar numbers, and I've heard that they fly pretty similarly. Should be pretty beefy as well. We will throw the Nitro, the yellow one here, the Nitro first. Very overstable, way less overstable than the Energy. Yeah, not bad. Good overstable driver. Probably great for a headwind. Next up, the Panic. I expect a very similar flight. Wow. Maybe a touch straighter, actually. Pretty nice. I'll be interested to throw those two again and compare them side by side. Next, we're going to go with two discs that I hadn't really heard of until Simon joined MVP, but we have the Dimension and the Delirium. These are now 14.5 speeds. These are our first 14.5 speed discs. It's a massive rim. The Dimension is supposed to be slightly more overstable, I think. This is the one that Simon's been throwing all over the place. He's got that white one he used in the distance competition and all over the place. We'll see if I can throw this at all. I know he doesn't turn them over, so I have no hope for myself. Yeah, nice. Very long, overstable flue. Very similar to the Nitro and the Panic. Next, we'll check out the Delirium. Slightly more flippy, I guess. We'll see. Clearly no turn, but not bad. All right, we'll stick in the 14.5 speed here for a minute. We'll grab, next up, this is the Tantrum. It should be more in the straight to overstable category from what I understand. I really love this Lab Second. It's blue with this like swirly red rim. Just beautiful. We'll see how it flies. Yeah, nice, straight, good distance. Next to that, we have the Teleport. Should be slightly less overstable than that, but also pretty straight to slightly overstable. It actually felt a touch more overstable, but I think the numbers are pretty similar, so. All right, and another 14.5 speed. This guy is the Excite. This one should be starting to get to that point where I will hopefully see some turn. We'll see. Oh yeah, a little bit of turn there. Nice flight, actually. Held the turn quite a while from what I would have expected, but yeah, very nice, very nice. All right, let's step back down into the 13 speed a second. This is a very popular disc that I have been excited to throw. It's the Octane. The Fission Octanes are supposed to be real bombers. I assume the Neutron ones are also pretty solid. We'll see what happens here. Oh, wow, no flip up on that. I expected that to be a little less overstable. That was very similar to the, maybe not quite as overstable as the Nitro Panic, but kind of in that range. All right, next up, the Mayhem. This is the only disc that I've experience with. I do know that they've been kind of all over the place for consistency when I've had them. Some of them are really flippy and some have been pretty stable. So we'll see how this one comes out. I've never thrown this one before. Just a tiny touch of turn. Yeah, just right in the circle. Nice shot. Now the Catalyst. This one should be fairly similar to the Mayhem. Ooh, a bit more turn, actually. That was pretty similar to that Excite. Good distance, though. Got past the tree. I can't remember if I said it, but the basket's at 380 feet. All right, down to our last two. We'll start with the 14.5 speed. This is the Relativity. This should be very understable. We'll see what happens. Wow, not anywhere near as understable. That was actually pretty similar to the Catalyst, right up under the tree there. That was much more stable than the numbers would imply. And now our 13 speed understable, the Tenacity. Blue on blue. That one is understable. That is a thrower. Huh. I believe that the Relativity and the Tenacity are supposed to have similar numbers other than the distance or the speed rating. But those were very different in stability. So I'm going to go grab those and we'll throw them one more time. Okay, round one in the books. A couple surprises. The The first one being I was able to throw most of those and felt like I could at least get some sort of difference between them. They weren't all just super overstable. I still don't think I need to be throwing discs at this speed because they did only hit 380 on a couple of them. And I do max out around 400 on a good day, so it's probably a wash between my 11 speeds and these 13, 14 speeds. But if you have more arm power, these are great. Or if you're trying to cut through the wind, something like that. So we're going to throw these again now. I'm going to change up the way I'm throwing these a little bit based on how they flew. Try to get better, fuller flights out of them. But other than that, we'll just wing them and see what happens. Energy first. This was super overstable last time, so I'm going to give this a massive amount of Annie and see what kind of flex line we can shoot from this. Wow. That is beef. All right, that has now taken the cake as the most overstable disc that I've ever thrown. I think that beats the flare. Okay, now into discs that we might even see fly for more than a half a second. The Dimension. This was very beefy last time. I'm going to throw it on a nice little flex. See how far we can get her down there. Yeah, nice low flex. Really, really overstable for me. Delirium should be very similar. I'm going to throw it on the same line. That one seems to come out just a touch slower, maybe. Yeah, good for low flexes, I guess. Some more beefcakes here. We'll go with the Nitro. Again, flex line. Yeah, very similar. For me, those are the Delirium, the Dimension, the Nitro, and I'm assuming this Panic. Probably all about the same. Another flex line. Oh, that was a little high. That Panic does seem to pan a little slower, though. So maybe that one's a touch less overstable. Okay, let's got here the Teleport. The Teleport was a pretty straight to stable. I'm going to throw this on a baby flex. See if we can get some more distance out of it. Yeah, just a bit less overstable than those others, but still just very beefy. Octane felt very similar last time, so we'll do the same. Yeah, looks basically identical. All right, now these last, 6 discs? These all felt like discs that I could maybe even throw. Start with the Tantrum. This one was still fairly straight. I'm hoping that this one will flex a lot slower than those last few discs. Yeah, nice hold. I could throw that into a headwind or for, overstable drives or something if I wanted, but I probably wouldn't bag it because it's just not different enough from my 11 speeds. The Mayhem didn't have a ton of turn last time, just a touch, so I'm going to hit it flat again, see if I can get a little more turn out of it this time. Oh, that was really low. Kind of held the line, stayed low, and skimmed the dirt there. Unfortunate. We'll throw that again. Catalyst seemed pretty similar to that. Try that again. This time, again, flat, hopefully a little bit higher than that one. Yeah, just a tiny little turn. Right up there under the basket, actually. That's pretty good. Just to the right of the basket, I guess. Good distance, though. This, the Excite, has probably been my favorite so far. It was way more understable than I expected last time. Flew probably similar to that Catalyst. We're going to see if we can do that again. Holding. That was a pretty low shot, but it didn't seem quite as understable that time, but probably did fly about like the Catalyst. The Relativity, kind of our other surprise, was more overstable than you'd expect. I'm going to throw this one flat again because it didn't really turn over that much. Kind of put that on a touch of hyzer, and not quite as hard. So seemed very overstable. That was kind of just a poor throw. Not sure how great some of these throws are going to get towards the end because I am going to get tired pretty fast throwing all these over and over. And then the Tenacity. This one was understable. So I'll pop this one on some hyzer, see what we can do with it. All the way up to flat and over, and still a throw there. All right, so that's like the paradox of the 13 speeds. Yeah, I'm gonna go get those again. We're gonna try one more round from back here before I'm exhausted, and then we'll maybe do some forehands. All right, guys. So in the interest of attempting to save some energy and some time, I'm only gonna throw about half of these again. The more overstable discs, that's not gonna change. I don't have the arm to make those fly any different than you've already seen. So I'm just gonna kind of set those to the side. And we're just gonna concentrate on these last, the 3, 6, 7 discs. All right. So we're gonna start off, we'll throw the Tantrum. See if we can get this one on a little bit of a flex and get some distance. Yeah, that was a little high. Yeah, I think I could eventually get that disc to turn when I beat it in. It's right on that verge. It's definitely straight to overstable now, much like a Photon would be. But I think it's right on the verge of being in my range, of being useful at least. Oh, let's see, what else do we got? Do the teleport. Sort of the same thing with the teleport. I don't feel like I got that much turn. I could be misremembering though. Oh yeah, no, that thing is stable. I think I was thinking of the Relativity when I threw that. Very stable, maybe a touch more than that Tantrum. Let's go with the Excite. This one was understable the first time and stable the second time. See if we can get something consistent out of this. Yeah, it feels like it's just got the tiniest bit of flip up there. So I might have put on a little bit of Annie or tugged it a little bit more the first time. But that could also be a workable one. That one's actually maybe just a hair into being something I'd bag, whereas the other ones were just a touch more overstable. A nice disc, the Excite. You never really hear about that. All right, Mayhem. Let's get this one not in the dirt this time. Try to put a move on this guy flat. No turn. Pretty straight. Nice fade. That could just be me getting tired too. Catalyst. I think this felt like it had a touch more turn than that, but it's still pretty straight. Try the same thing, flat with some good power. Yeah, that one turns. A nice little turn. All right, so the Catalyst seems a bit more understable. Here we go. The Relativity. I think this is what I was thinking of last time. Too many red discs. All right. see if this one I can get a nice little turn and fade, just like that Catalyst. Oh, a little low. That's more like the Mayhem. Just very straight, not much turn. That was very low. All right, last up, the Tenacity. This thing has been ridiculously understable. I'm gonna put on a lot of hyzer. See if we can keep it from turning into a thrower this time. Nope. Man, that thing is understable. That's probably, if I hate to say that it's a good disc for a beginner, because if you're a beginner, you shouldn't be throwing a 13 speed probably. But if you don't have much arm speed and you want to throw a disc with a really wide rim, I don't know if you're skipping or cutting through the wind, that might be your disc. All right, I'm gonna grab those. We're gonna move up. We're gonna throw all these guys on some forehands next. All right, guys, I got it set up about 330 feet or so away from that one filled in tree surrounded by the two not filled in trees, so to speak. There's that cluster of three down the center. We're going to throw some forehands, or try to anyway. These are distance drivers. Nose angle will be important, and I'm not good at that, so let's not expect too much here. We're just going to start with some of the overstable stuff here. We got the Nitro. Going to throw this on a bit of a flex. Not much flex, but you know, it flies like a big beefy overstable disc should. The Energy, the most overstable disc that we've found so far. I'm gonna put this on a real chop. Had no problem coming out of that. Under probably like 280 or something, I'm guessing distance-wise on that guy. Let's see, how about the Delirium? Again, pretty good anhyzer on this guy to flex it. Not bad though. If you need a really beefy overstable disc, any of these should work. Panic should be the same sort of deal. Oh, that one came out on a little more Annie, a little left. Let's see, the Dimension. Be really good at these chop forehands by the time we're done. All right, the Octane. Might start getting into ones where I don't have to throw them on quite so much angle. Yeah, came out a bit less Annie and held a little bit longer. Still very overstable. This guy, the Tenacity, no, Tantrum. That one seemed to hold a bit longer than the Octane. Distance. We got here is the Teleport. Expect something similar to what we just saw. Put that one on a little bit more Annie that time. Spot out though. All right, maybe we'll throw some of these flatter. The Excite. This one's been kind of all over the place for consistency for me so far, but I really love the look of it, and it feels good when it releases. It just always seems to fly differently. All right, Excite, a little bit of Annie. A little more than I had intended, but yeah, that one held a lot longer. Definitely still came out. Let's go with the Mayhem. Part of me wants to throw this flat, but I think we're still going to go with a tiny bit of Annie here. Did that a little higher. Held a nice long time though. Good distance. Catalyst. This guy will throw mostly flat. Yep, nice little turn. Oh yeah, that one I could throw for long distances for sure forehand. Very comfortable, good flight. All right, the last two. Funny, we get down to the last three discs before I can throw something flat. The Relativity will go with first. That one seemed maybe even a little more overstable than the Catalyst, so we'll try it flat, but not much turn. Not the world's greatest release, but still would have thought more turn based on the numbers. All right. What do we do with you, Tenacity? This, I don't know if there's enough hyzer in the world. We're going to try it. All the way up to flat. Hey, it didn't go all the way over, though. Wow, good distance. God, that thing is understable. All right, so there you have it. Almost all of those are great for chop forehands. The last couple, you could maybe even throw normal. And if you actually have a forehand, they probably fly pretty well. Couldn't tell you. Yeah, that's about it from those. We're going to go grab those now. All right, guys. We're going to stop there, mainly because I don't really know what else I would do other than keep throwing these, and I am all out of gas. I wouldn't be doing a lot of shot shaping with these kinds of discs. These are like max distance kind of discs. You're pretty much doing one thing, and that's throwing it hard and either on a flexing max distance line or maybe a hyzer flip if it's understable, or I don't know. But you're throwing it hard in a big wide open field usually. So we're going to stop, and I'm going to go through and give you my thoughts on these discs. Start down here with the Energy. The Energy, the most overstable disc I've ever thrown. I just don't know when I would ever need this. The ultimate utility max distance driver, I guess. I guess if Simon starts finding his distance drivers are too flippy, I guess he could look at an Energy. Won't be in my bag, but if you're looking for something beefy, there you have it. Next up, I'm going to group all these guys together. So we got the Dimension and the Delirium, which are the 14.5 speeds, and the Nitro and the Panic. All four of these felt very similar to me. They're workably overstable, like something I would even consider putting in my bag if I needed a real strong headwind fighter that had a much faster profile to cut through the wind. I don't think they'll displace my fireballs or things like that, just because I don't throw that shot often, and I'd much rather have something sort of not quite as long range, I guess. If I'm trying to do that, I want it to be a little bit more controlled. So I don't think they'll make my bag, but if you need something with more overstability in that high speed range, all four of these seem very good and could probably fill that slot. I think if you were to have a bit more arm speed, you might see these go a little straighter than these guys. But without someone with some real power, I can't tell you much more than that. All right, these three I kind of want to throw together as well. These felt similar. So we have the Octane, the Tantrum, and the Teleport. Octane, Tantrum, Teleport. I don't remember how close the numbers are, but these all felt like they are straight to overstable and probably workable. And if I had a bit more arm power where I was in the early to mid 400s of distance, these would probably be filling in where the Photon does for me right now. We're just reliably straight, maybe a touch of turn, and then a good strong finish. So I think if you have a bit more arm speed than me, these would be worth looking at. For me, they were really just sort of not a whole lot different than those last group that we looked at. It's just very overstable, but I felt like these could maybe get more workable, maybe once they beat in. Next group, these guys sort of seem to fit together pretty well. The Mayhem, the Relativity, and the Excite. The first thing they have in common is they're all kind of inconsistent. This one, not so much today. Today it felt pretty similar, but just because I've thrown enough of these, I know that this is a more overstable one compared to many that I've thrown. So like, the stability seemed to range quite a bit from my experience on these guys. And then these guys seem to have just inconsistency in how they flew today, which clearly that's probably more on me than anything. The disc isn't going to change magically from throw to throw like that. But I did struggle with them. But I think they are a bit more, all three of these are a bit more understable than that last group. I could maybe get a touch of turn out of these, and I could see them working into my bag if I wanted something longer or faster, I guess, profile-wise, than my Photon. I don't think they will replace those because I didn't feel as comfortable. These do seem to have a bit more smaller margin for error, I guess. So I probably won't bag them, but they are a very nice disc. I have thrown this in the past. They do go very far when you get a hold of them in the right conditions. Great discs. All right, the last two discs. These are really the only two that probably felt like they were truly within my arm speed. The Catalyst flew pretty much exactly as the numbers indicate, the -2.2. I was able to get a good turn and a nice little fade at the end. It really felt similar to what I was seeing with, oh, what was it in the control drivers? The Zenith and blanking on the other one now. Well, I don't recall, but it just had that nice long, oh, the Vanish. Nice long, good turn, good fade, very, like, perfectly matched with my current arm speed. So I really liked throwing this, and I could see bagging this. I don't think it went any further than my Photons, though. So maybe after some more time in the field working on distance, and I can get my distance back up, I'd maybe try it again and see. It might get a little bit flippier at that point, but I really enjoyed it today. Oh, all right. And then the Tenacity, like I've mentioned through the whole video, is a very understable disc. If you're looking for rollers with, not a ton of arm power, or if you have lower arm speed and want something that'll do turnovers, or if you're really just starting out and you want something really fast for some reason, this might not be quite as overstable. Again, I don't think this will make my bag because I don't need something this understable outside of the Paradox. But for drivers, I just really don't. I mean, I throw a Jet, I guess, which is pretty understable too, but not to the point where I'm throwing it on throwers. So yeah, just a good, super understable distance driver, I guess. And that's it. That is the distance drivers. That is the series. That is every disc that MVP has manufactured. Not true. They have come out since I started this video series in the past few months. They came out with the Tempo, which is a circuit challenge disc, so I can't get my hands on it yet. And they also came out with the Watt, which releases tomorrow, which I haven't got my hands on yet. So I may come back and do an addendum to the Putter series for those. But otherwise, thanks for watching this series. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments about any of the discs that were thrown, or want to see other comparisons in the future, or have other video ideas you'd like to see, feel free to drop them in the comments. Drop a like if you want to see more, and subscribe if you want to catch any of the future videos. The next set of videos I plan on doing is comparing some popular discs from other brands with their MVP equivalents. So I've got things like the Destroyer and the Grace and the FD and PD and discs like that, the Buzz. And we're going to go ahead and give those a little bit of a showdown, see how they compare and contrast. So feel free to subscribe if you want to catch those. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.